What's up everyone, this is Firenacho here bringing you a commentary. Now we'll be looking at a game in Belshire Vestige. This will be the first game in a series of 5 that I'll be playing, called Korean Madness. Now the basic premise of this series is I play my 5 placement matches in the Korean servers. And I cast them, regardless of the outcome. And I'm pretty sure hilarity will ensure as I get my ass kicked, because Koreans are renowned for being really good StarCraft players. Alright, so let's get on with the game. Top left, we have Barcode Guy, who apparently does not have a username. Very interesting. And at the bottom right, playing as the Red Terran player, there'll be myself, naturally. So, yeah. We'll be doing this at ×2. There we go. And let's see what happens. Now I really like this map for Terran, simply because defending the natural is really easy. You have your high ground siege tanks here, and a bunker here. That way nothing except pokes over here can really get to it. It's no biggie. Now as you can see, the Zerg player, over here, he gets his Overlord into 2 extractors to cancel that to get the 12/10 drones. Very fancy play, very slick play for a Bronze League, which is what this guy was, unbelievably. So, because gold players usually play like this guy does in the North American servers. And it was not a close match per se. He did overlook a few things, but it was a really intense match when I was playing it. You can see a little bit of APM. And I'm going for my barracks and gas. Now I'll mention why I'm going this in a few minutes. I just want to point out that the Zerg is getting his gas before, or pool and then gas to get his early speedlings. Now the reason I go gas barracks is so I can get my factory up, and it allows me to defend. It allows me to make this expansion earlier. It allows me to defend the siege tanks now that we don't need now that stim or siege mode does not require the tech lab upgrade. I will begin with a Reaper first. My reasoning for this was not the best, considering you can only get up to his main via this little edge. Kind of annoying. It's not a big deal. We will see that the Reaper doesn't end up doing much because of this choice. As you can see, he's getting his gas. He got it fairly on time for a bronze player. I usually miss my speed by a few seconds, but this guy got it spot on. As you can see, I'm getting my barracks. I've got my 2 gases up. Very necessary if you want to follow up with a starport to get the Widow Mine dropped, which we will see. As of the moment, there's a few scouting. I was planning on using a bunker over here to deny the expansion, which is kind of interesting because, as you can see, there is no expansion, and these Zerg players at 21 supply. I found this really odd and kind of worrying until I saw this. Now that's 8 Zerglings. It's not much against a Terran player, but as you don't know, but I'm a random player. I decided that during Wings of Liberty, just to get a feel for all the races. And I found that to be very fun. I can learn different builds, I can learn timings for different races, and apply that in my games. Very useful, very fun. As you can see, he went 1 Spine Crawler, probably to protect the Reaper as he does, protect against the Reaper as he does those pushes. The reasoning behind this, I'm not quite sure, because he only sees my supply depots and barracks. He has no other vision. And I wonder if we missed, yes, we did miss that amusing little Reaper dance revolution that goes on. You can rewind that bit. Apparently it takes a while to kick in, which is odd. There we go. Oh, there we have the vision. Here comes the Reaper. I do manage to land off a few shots, kind of delay that push a bit. Here he jumps to the cliff, and this is highly amusing. He's like Dance Revolution. Little pro dancing there. Found it very amusing. So his speedlings, or soon-to-be speedlings, do manage to stay there to defend, since there is no spine crawler. Alright, carrying on. Let's move that a bit back. Alright, so we do see he got 14 Zerglings, so he is planning on being aggressive. I did see that with my Reaper. He takes down these rocks, which I question why, since these prevent buildings. They don't prevent movement at all. It's just building placement. So for example, over here, this little patch right next to the floating crystal thing wouldn't allow me to make a supply depot or a barracks or anything on top of it until it was destroyed. You can see my Reaper, it's still not doing anything except delaying that push. Tech-wise, he's getting Banelings, he's got his 2 gas, very standard, very normal. He is planning on breaking this contain over here. I do have my bunker up front. I'm only planning on placing 1 Marine there, while the rest of my production goes to siege tanks. Or should, once this gets its tech lab. Alright, so I got my starport, fairly early starport because I plan to do Widowmine drops. It may not be the best timing, but do recall I am not the best player, as you will see at the end of the placement matches. Alright, so I do get my expansion. As you can see, he doesn't have his expansion quite yet. Very delayed expansion. It's a sign of very aggressive Zerg. But I do have this base on lockdown. My bunker is here, my siege tank is here. This will be able to cover all of that, even that blind spot that I was mentioning earlier. And I do have my 1 SCV to repair that supply depot and siege tanks as needed. As you can see, I do supply my block myself quite a lot in this series. Kind of unfortunate, something I'm working on, something everybody should work on. There we go, we have the drop at 7. Or actually the medevac's popping out at around 7:35. The drop will be around possibly 8:20. It could be a very delayed push. I'm not quite sure on the exact timings, but it does do its damage, as you'll see. As you can see, my siege tank and bunker will prevent these banelings from doing any damage, and these speedlings from doing anything at all. He does take quite a lot of my bunker, which can be repaired by that SCV. As you can see, that siege tank does repel those speedlings that we're going to try and counterattack. Now, the good thing about this is the siege tank here and the bunker here, there's less surface area for both the bunker and the siege tank to be surrounded by Zerglings. In addition to that, the 1 Marine kind of protects the siege tank, while the siege tank prevents kind of all these speedlings from entering, or picks them off. This second siege tank will be placed here to kind of cover. Okay, actually I place it here so that I can pick off these speedlings, but it should be placed here. Kind of picks off this ramp and does provide further coverage. We can see the drop, it's heading over. It's going to hit at nearly around 9 minutes. It's a bit more late than I expected, but no worries. One thing to mention is the Ignite Afterburners ability for the medevac. It's exclusive to Heart of the Swarm, and it's really useful. This makes your drops that much faster. You can actually pick up and retreat things faster and get back to your base faster. It's really useful. Now we do see that it's loaded with 1 Widowmine. I later changed this to include maybe 2 Marines, just to pick off extra drones. So we do see that the placement here is not the best. It will pick off either this chunk or this chunk. Build-wise, I have my 2 factories and my 1 barracks. I'm getting my tech lab for my Banshee. Now this is an odd choice, and it was probably not the best choice considering I already have a Widowmine in play, which would technically, make the Zerg player, Mr. Barcode here, to make an Overseer, which would counter Banshee Cloak. However, in this case, it is bronze. No matter how good the Korean bronze players are, he apparently just ignores that and goes all aggressive. For the Zerg, Mr. Barcode, he does go to Roaches. Roaches are very effective against this kind of mech play, just because they soak up the tank damage, they pick off Marines, which is usually higher than the Marauder count. As you can see, there is a little bit of micro here where I use my medevac to gain vision on the speedlings, so I could pull them back a bit. They do get retreated, they're being reinforced. As you can see, 36 Zerglings versus my 2 tanks and 1 Marine, and my 1 Widowmine doing damage. So for units lost, the Zerg has already lost 22 units, he's 1,000 minerals behind, and his expansion is just finished. Worker-wise, he's at 15 versus my 32. As a Zerg, you don't really want to be in this position, just because you can't put up the aggression mid to late game with a very weak economy. And the Terran, however, can go on offensive, and that will screw you over. We do see that Widow Mine stays there for quite a long time. I do reposition it. The Queen doesn't bother picking it off. And at 10 minutes, bordering 11, my Banshee is heading out, and Cloak is nearly finished. I feel fairly comfortable with that timing. I do plan on getting my third. It won't be necessary. But I do feel comfortable in this position. Like, at no point did I feel pressured unless he started taking out, putting up defenses here to prevent me from dropping and getting a larger economy and stuff like that. However, with my constant scouting and my Widow Mine here, which is the perfect placement, as you can see, it will give me vision over, okay, I lied, it wasn't the perfect placement. It does give me vision over the Baneling Nest, the Roach Nest, and it does let me see those delicious drones being popped everywhere. As you can see, my Banshee will go ahead. It doesn't do too much damage, given that the expansion wasn't saturated. Kind of unfortunate. Army count and supply count. For army count, active forces, we do see that the Zerg has nearly 2,000 minerals and 200 gas spent on those roaches and speedlings. And I only have 875 and 47 gas. Or 475 gas. And most of that is spent on the Banshee and Cloak, as well as the Widow Mine. And the secondary Banshee that is being produced now. Most of that is siege tanks as well. So as you can see, it doesn't take a big army to just defend against a very aggressive Zerg that's just dumping his economy on pure speedlings and roaches. That's kind of generally what you want to do. Sometimes they're a bit clever and play macro, which is a pain in the butt to deal with. But, you know, Korean servers, so I did not expect kind of this pressure, which was kind of pretty enjoyable to play against. It was just a change of pace. He does pick off all my siege tanks. I'm kind of sad about that. It looks a bit bad for me because he does take out the supply depot. I don't siege up this tank. It was kind of stupid. I do have my Hellions. They get picked off. It's a very bad spot. As you can see, in a few moments, they'll surround me and I don't have much area to move to. However, my Banshee, that is my trump card over here. It will just clear out this whole army. They don't go after my SCVs that much, so they'll leave my economy intact. This scared me, though. Those Banelings, they can wipe out the entire mineral line. Oh, gotta take a sip from my coconut water, because it is really tiring to cast on your voice and stuff. Makes you really thirsty. So yeah, as you can see, he pulls back. He doesn't kill too much of my SCVs. I still have 39 to his now 12 because of the Widow Mine and the Banshee over there. There's a bit of tactical focus firing. I really don't like those Banelings, and I try to pick them off just because they can, you know, wipe out my minerals, enter my base, do a bit of damage with those roaches. It's not too bad. I do lift that up. That's kind of secured. Like, he can't get to that with pure roaches and Banelings, because Banelings cannot be launched into the air, unfortunately. I do believe he leaves without saying GG, and that is the first game of Korean Madness. I'm Firenacho. Please subscribe, please like, feel free to comment, and I'll see you guys next time.